Peace and blessings, everyone. This is Saira Iqbal Khan from the Wobble Hearts, which is an exclusive series brought to you by Idea Trainings. And Idea Trainings is basically a platform which offers and provides, technical core engineering related trainings and soft skills trainings as well to the organizations. Continuously, we are doing different kind of sessions with different kind of people, of feminines. And today we have another person with us who's a very learned professional, Mr. Junaid Israr, who is basically, the head of talent and digital transformation at Fatima Group. And before we dive into the conversation with him, I would like to give a brief introduction about him. Junaid is a well-rounded HR professional with 15 years of experience across multiple industries and organizations and cultures. Over the years, he has designed, managed, and delivered key strategic interventions in the realm of culture, organizational development, people development, enablement, and digital transformation, with a laser-sharp focus on achieving key business strategic bets. He is a certified Blue Ocean professional from the Blue Ocean Academies, certified in the power of stories to fuel innovation from Stanford, GSB, executive education, and a Mercer job analysis and evaluation practitioner. He was selected as employee engagement champion and lead assessor for conducting an HR strategic audit for Etisalat, Egypt. And through leveraging European Foundation for Quality Management by Etisalat, HR digital transformation, along with talent, organizational development, and culture, remained one of his core, portfolio throughout his career. And he has designed and implemented digital solutions in successful factors, Oracle, and Microsoft Dynamics. So, Assalamu alaikum, Junaid, how are you doing?
Assalamu alaikum, thank you very much. I'm good. What about you?
I'm doing great, and generally, we keep it light. We keep it, very natural because it is not scripted thing. So, I read your profile, and you have such an enriched experience in HR in different verticals and domains. So, my first question to you is that: do you get into the HR as your own choice, or if an opportunity is given to you to switch your career from HR to some other domain, which domain you will choose?
So it's an interesting question. So HR is by choice. I started my career with Abacus Consulting. Mm-hmm. The first assignment that I got was conducting a Mercer survey, cost of living survey for expatriates. From that point onwards, I think HR is something that I'm really passionate about. And if you talk about that some other field, or if I've given a choice at this point in time, so I think I really enjoy whatever I am doing right now. So I'm really happy.
You're happy with being an HR guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason being, I truly feel that as HR professional, you have the ability that you can use to enable not just organizations but people, and you can change their lives and change the life of the people around them. So that's the reason I'm really passionate about being in HR.
Do you think that HR is the right word, or should it be called as people department, or some people call it human capital something? So what do you think? If you're given the opportunity to revamp and give a new name to the HR, what word you will choose?
Well, I think more than word, that really matters is the intent. Regardless, it's people, it's HR. If the intent is like enabling people, it will create a lot of difference.
So you might be calling it people enablement department?
Yeah.
Okay.
People enablement is fine. People excellence is fine. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter, but the thing that really matters is the intent, and the intent of HR or people department to enable people and facilitate people and create value for the organization by enabling people. So I think that's more important.
Okay, so when HR is something, which operates in a strategic level, right? And they really have the responsibility to, keep the people motivated, to, bring on board the right people, and, to make them feel valued and engaged so that, they work towards a performance optimization, and they stay relevant with the business goals as well.
Yeah.
So it's a huge responsibility. So, when you're working or a part of an established organization, maybe you are at a better position to, convince the owner or, the founder of the organization that, we really need to take initiatives, to keep the people motivated, versus when you're working in a, developing organization or less established organization. So do you think in both the scenarios, it's easy for HR to convince that it should be people first approach than profit?
So anything that is relevant to HR or people needs to be connected with business. So if your business case is strong, I don't think that anybody can reject the investment in people. So and if we talk about the current scenario, economic scenario, right now the economic uncertainty index is highest ever. Because of COVID and after the Ukraine war, it's highest. So the prime objective of any organization is to make sure that the organization is sustainable and it is making good profits. So everything that HR takes to the boardroom should be connected with the business, and they should have a very strong business case, not just talks.
Okay, so it's not just the lip service, it needs to be, well thought out and strategically designed business case. Great.
Yeah.
Talking about, the economic scenario discussed, and, as I briefed you earlier, that this is not something we are experiencing, this volatile, uncertain, and complex and ambiguous situation, which is called VUCA, for the first time. It has arrived in different shapes and forms. And, still there are certain statistics, from the established research organizations that, a lot more disruptions are on the way. Right? And, this year has been declared, as the year of mass resignations, and fueling up the retention has become a huge concern for the organizations. So as a what you call solution, somehow now organizations are focusing a lot on the culture aspect and the employee engagement. So do you think employee engagement is just all about trips, recreational activities, or having a foosball at the workplace, or the bean bags? How do you define employee engagement in its true spirit, and how it actually helps in fueling up the retention?
So there is a misconception about employee engagement that it's all about trips or foosballs or bean bags. This is a little part of the employee engagement. When we talk about employee engagement, it's more than employee satisfaction. So it covers a lot of aspects. So I worked on different methodologies of employee engagement, like IBM Connects, Tower Watson, and Mercer. So it has different elements. And when we talk about different elements of engagement, it entails really changing the organization design of or the DNA of the organization. So you have to make sure that you have quality managers who can engage people. You have the right performance management design that can differentiate the performance and rightly reward people. You need to make sure that your value system is up to the mark and inculcated into the culture of the organization. It's not just talk. So there are multiple aspects of employee engagement, not just one. You need to make sure that your internal and external equity is balanced out. So employee engagement, the way it's conventionally perceived, it's not right.
Okay.
It's more than that.
And what are your thoughts and opinions about the Lahore market, especially the HR fraternity in the Lahore, sitting in the different organizations who are not even properly from the HR background, heading an HR department, for instance, and, not, letting the talent actually get cultivated in its true spirit, and blocking the potential from its what should I say, the pinnacle of growth, for example. If I have the capability to bring new initiatives or bring new strategies to the table, and the HR guy is not letting me do that. So this is generally the mentality which I have observed over the years.
Okay.
So what do you think? What advice you would like to give, and how do you actually see this scenario shaping up? Because I think this could be somehow at some point will be very, very toxic for the organizations.
So I think over the passage of time, HR in Pakistan especially has come a long way from personnel management to at least managing HR or thinking about different strategies and contributing to the business. So my advice to all HR professionals would be that they need to, whatever they are doing, it should be linked with the business. So let's, for the sake of discussions, trainings and performance appraisal system. In Pakistan, usually 99.9% organizations are following the bell curve approach.
Yeah.
Yes, and their performance management system has usually traditionally two parts. One is objectives and one is competencies. And when they implement the bell curve, unfortunately, the data is not very reliable for trainings. And that is the reason that we never get the ROI answer from any of the HR professional. So they need to change the mindset and get out of their comfort zone. So that is the advice that I can give to any HR professional.
And you talked about training. What are your thoughts regarding organizational development? Because organizational development is something you're operating at different levels. You also have to look into the customer side, with the customer experience, including both, internal customers, external customers. Yeah. You also have to look into the leadership, level that the leaders are actually living those values, to which they actually want the organizational, to be operational and to be alive through the organization. And then you also have to operate at the HR level. So how do you actually see, the OD aspect getting more importance in the emerging scenario, and how organizations are actually need to look into that more seriously?
So we just talked about the overall economic conditions, and I think business survival is a biggest question right now. And when we talk about surviving to thriving, the most important aspect for any organization, even country, is its human capital. So how to design an organization which enable its people to contribute to the overall business objectives. And you talked about the training. So the way I see training is little different. It's not just tick off the box. It's not just executing the annual training plans. It's more than that. Identifying the real business needs, and I'm now talking about leadership development. Identifying the business needs, the future strategy, and looking beyond the existing circumstances, looking at the future of the workforce. Future skill set, and then making sure that they are incorporated into your development plan. So that's how you can approach a best leadership development program within your organization. And it has to be backed up by the measures, program success measures. If the program, if your program is not yielding the required results, then you need to revisit, redesign, and rethink and relaunch.
Okay, so one of our projects that I did with my previous employer was reimagine, reinvent, and reboot. The same thing.
Yeah.
If I do a quick rapid fire with you.
Sure.
So what do you think? 9 to 6 is an obsolete concept now, and organizations really need to come up with a flexi-hour approach. Which option you will choose? A option or B option?
Option B.
Option B.
Yeah, flexi hours.
And do you think organizations are ready to cater that?
Organizations with a certain discipline and old mindset, they are not. But who realizes that the future generation or future workforces will not comply to these rules have realized that this will change.
Okay. Artificial intelligence is the way to manage the organizations, or generational intelligence is the way to manage the organizations?
Both.
Both. Combo of both. Okay. People or profit?
Again, both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If I ask you that digital transformation is about tech talent, or digital transformation is about technology?
Again, both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay. Salary as per the potential of the candidate, or salary as per the last salary slip?
No. So salary as per the potential of the candidate, and also as per the position within the organization, not just the last salary slip.
Okay. So now, if I throw a situation to you, there is a person who is from some other, industry, and if he or she has that substance, or that, agility required, in a human being, or, that learning appetite, and doesn't have the experience to, about the current role, which you're going to offer. Still, you would like to give the chance to that person who doesn't have the, prior experience relevant to your industry or not?
So, relevant industry experience in some of the jobs are not really required. So, for instance, if we talk about a fertilizer engineer, prior experience would be a must. But for a creative artist or brand manager, I think prior industry experience would not be relevant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Culture by the chief executive officer, or culture by the chief culture officer?
Chief executive officer.
Reason?
Reason being that culture is always top driven. What they talk is something that is important. And the core responsibility of a chief executive officer is not to make profit. It's to inspire people. It's to make sure that you have the right and enabling culture where people can display their skills, leverage the culture, and make a difference. Create value for the organization. That's the real responsibility of a chief executive officer.
So if I ask you which caption would describe the role of a chief human resource officer, for example, I know it's the intention that matters the most. Yeah. It's not the title, but still, if you have to create a relevance, should it be chief people's officer, chief culture officer, chief empathy officer, chief hearts officer, or chief human resource officer? So
chief empathy officer, reason being empathy is the new face of leadership, especially after this COVID crisis and the economic crisis that we are currently going through across the world.
So data is the new currency, or care is the new currency?
Both.
Both are the new currency. Okay. One more thing that I would like to understand is how important it is that, the HR professionals really welcome on board the people who have, that, what should I say, that quality of intellect mining or intellect orchestration. Do you think that organizations are ready to welcome such kind of resources on a broader level? I'm not talking about only the established organizations the way you are a part of, but generally, do you think that Pakistani leadership, and there is one more phenomena that I've observed, if a candidate gets the opportunity to get interviewed by the head of the organization at the first place, and if that person has that thing in him or her, that person gets shortlisted. But if that person gets a first introduction, with the HR head, and if he or she has that intellect mining or intellect orchestration, or some of the good qualities related to innovation in them, the HR professionals feel threatened, that this person is gonna, take over my role, or maybe that person will get paid higher than me. So how do you see it, and what is the way forward so that good people can join the organizations. Because at the end of the day, the person is not coming to kill somebody's role or to overtake somebody's role. Rather, that person is passionate to contribute to that company.
So, Saira, to be very honest, I haven't seen such professional HR professional in my entire career. But to answer your question, I think you asked me about that chief executive officer is more important, or chief culture officer is more important for establishing the culture of the organization. So, if there are examples and stories where there is no insecurity with regards to succession or making sure that people are safe within the organization, they feel valued. So if you establish that sort of a culture, nobody would, feel threatened, and you will get a good talent. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting that he has not seen some kind of HR professional, but yeah, okay, that's cool if you haven't seen it. If I have to wrap up this conversation, one last question that I would like to ask from you is that ऐसा कौन सा कोई quality या ऐसी कौन सी कोई advice which you give to the people but you don't feel like living it by yourself?
Well, I don't think so that I will advise people that I don't live it. So
there's no such thing?
No such thing, nothing.
Okay.
But I will advise one thing, that every individual, regardless they belong from HR, marketing, any of the field in the business, learning agility, keeping themselves updated, empathy, these are the three qualities that they need to follow in any case. And on top of it, being authentic is something that they need to look into.
Okay, and one more question came to my mind. This metaverse, this is something emerged very nicely, $8 trillion opportunity.
Yeah.
So do you think that this metaverse is something which is going to redefine, the HR practices, or, it can play some role in terms of, the employee engagement aspect, or, how you can, engage people, through this experience. So if HR has to future-proof itself, do you think metaverse has a role to play in that?
Well, let me be very honest with you. Metaverse has already changed the future workforce. So let's talk about my kids. I mean, they play games that are in metaverse. And that's the future workforce. And in my humble opinion, in next 7 to 8 years, metaverse, crypto, NFTs, these are something that will be very important, and the new workforce will be used to it. Traditional training methods, traditional ways of interaction will not be relevant in next 5 to 10 years.
All right.
Yeah.
So we had the sage with us today, and I guess it was a very interesting conversation that we had. And now we will move towards Mr. Khalid Naki, who will actually wrap up this conversation.
So we have heard a sage from the HR fraternity, and who has tremendous exposure, learning and understanding. And he has also talked about the emerging future and what HR needs are going to be like. The challenge, in my view, we are all facing, as per World Economic Forum and Forbes, in next 5 to 10 years' time, we are going to see and face and live through a very new realm whereby everything will get disrupted on planet Earth in terms of corporate sector. As per them, 75% companies listed on the stock exchange will vanish. Otherwise also, smaller SMEs will also vanish. That may result, in fact, they say it will result in loss of 2 billion jobs. And then 800 million new jobs will be created. And nobody knows today what these new jobs would be like. So HR is going to face a lot of disruptions, and to stay relevant with emerging times, in my view, HR will have to be a department which is not looking only at the profitability side or the employee growth side. That definitely they have to become a strategical eye of the CEO or the board anyway. But their main core role would be to upskill and reskill their workforce with a measured timetable, and which definitely needs giving depth and width to their minds, taking their biases out and making them more tech savvy. And the empathy word kept on coming up, and now creating empathy with technology is something which need to be taken care of, and we need to create our signature sauce of any organization whereby we are rising with the tide. Crypto, NFTs, other things which were referred, we have seen that you can make money along with that tide because they are fads, but in emerging future, maybe they will be your part of life. So HR, in my view, is going to face a lot of disruptions, and a lot of current practices, as our guest has already spoken about, are going to be disrupted and changed. So we need people who are really passionate and who have tons of curiosity, not only to improve their own selves, but also the manpower within the organization, and to keep an eye on that emerging trends by closely working along with the technology department. Technology means machinery, plant, machinery, equipment, IT, whatever, and keeping a very close eye on global influencers in the domain of technology, like Elon Musk and the likes. There are a lot more. What they're doing, what they are planning, because the good news about the developed society is they share everything. Like Elon Musk has not taken IPs for any of his researchers. He has opened it up for everybody. Google has become an open-end platform. So they are giving you opportunity. Now it's our call to how can we capitalize it, and our companies, the top management, as it was rightly said by a friend, that culture of high performance will be redefined moving forward, I think, year over year. So, and then HR is the right department to capitalize, to capture all those things, convert them into minds which can orchestrate or which can sustain the emerging disruptions. Otherwise, I think we are going to face a lot of new challenges. So time is now, and I think HR should come up with something along with the ownership of any organization or board of directors or shareholders to fight out the emerging disruption. The time is now. If we miss it now, we have missed it. Thank you very much.
This is a wonderful initiative by Idea Trainings. Through this intervention, there is a great opportunity for professionals who can share their knowledge with the people who really want to learn and make a difference. So I wish them all the best, and I hope that such wonderful sessions will be continued in the future. So all the best, and thank you very much.